Hold on before I tell you what happened the morning those two kids heard their very first sound. Let me back up because this story doesn't start in a mansion. It starts in a war zone. Marcus Williams wasn't always a billionaire before. The penthouse, before the empire, before his name was on half the buildings downtown. He was just a soldier, young, fearless, and completely, hopelessly in love. He met her overseas. Her name was Elaine. She was a field nurse attached to his unit. And the first time he saw her, she was stitching up a soldier who was screaming so loud the whole tent shook, and she didn't even flinch, just kept her hand steady, kept whispering, "You're gonna be okay. I got you." He thought right then, that woman is made of something different. They fell hard. They fell fast in a place where tomorrow was never guaranteed. You didn't waste time playing games between firefights and field hospitals. They found stolen moments, sitting on sandbags watching sunsets, writing letters they weren't sure would ever arrive, praying together when the sky lit up with things that weren't stars. They made it home. They got married, and 3 years later, Elaine was pregnant with twins, but the night Spencer and Savannah came into this world, Elaine didn't make it out. Marcus sat in that hospital hallway for 6 hours straight, didn't eat, didn't move when the doctor finally came out and told him the babies were alive. But they were born deaf. Marcus just nodded real slow like. He was filing it away somewhere deep where he wouldn't have to feel it. He went home. He built an empire. He bought a mansion so big it echoed, and every single day, he told himself he was doing it for them, for Spencer and Savannah, or the family Elaine would have wanted. But y'all, that man was not okay. The mansion was. Cold, not temperature, cold, soul cold. Every maid, every guard, every single person on staff had to follow his rules to the letter, no exceptions. No noise, no mess. You slipped up once, you were out. Marcus had learned in the war that chaos got people killed, so he ran his house like a military operation. Tight, controlled, quiet. The twins grew up in that silence, not just because they couldn't hear, but because their father didn't know how to fill it. Then one Tuesday morning, Jane showed up. She wasn't flashy. She wasn't loud. She was just a regular woman with a small Bible in her apron pocket and a piece about her that didn't make any logical sense. While she cleaned, she'd read softly to herself when she thought no one was around. She'd hum worship songs under her breath, and sometimes right there on the marble floors. She'd just kneel down and pray, no shame. No performance, just her and God. Spencer and Savannah couldn't hear a word of it, but they kept drifting toward her. Like she was a fireplace and they were cold. Whenever Jane sang, they'd sit close and watch her lips, watch her face, watch the way her whole body just relaxed into it, and sometimes without knowing why. They'd kneel down right next to her when she prayed. What none of them knew was that Marcus was watching every single day, hidden cameras all over the property. Old soldier instincts die hard. From his office upstairs, he watched Jane teach the twins sign language. Patient as anything, going over the same gesture 20 times until they got it. He watched her let them climb on her back like she was a horse. He watched her laugh with them, a real laugh. Not a polite one. He almost fired her multiple times, came real close to picking up the phone and letting her go. Something about her made him uncomfortable. She reminded him of Elaine. That same stubborn, unshakable peace, and Marcus had learned a long time ago that loving things that peaceful only made losing them hurt worse. But he never made the call. Then one morning, the sun barely up, the whole house still asleep, Jane slipped into the twins' room, thinking she'd get a head start on tidying up. She didn't realize they were still in bed. She pulled out her Bible, knelt on the floor, and started to pray. Then she began to sing low and quiet, eyes closed, completely in her own world with God. And that's when it happened. Savannah's eyes opened first, then Spencer sat up. They looked at each other, and something was different. The room felt different. They could feel a vibration they'd never felt before. Savannah slowly climbed out of bed. Spencer followed. They stood there staring at Jane's moving lips. They'd memorized this song from watching her 100 times. They knew every word, and then, soft and shaky and completely real, they started to sing along upstairs. Marcus was at his desk. He glanced at the monitor like he did every morning, and he froze. His kids were singing. His hands started shaking. He turned up the volume on the security system, hands trembling so bad he could barely hit the button, and when the sound came through, their little voices, quiet and unsure, but so real, something inside Marcus Williams completely broke open. He jumped up so fast, he knocked over his chair, ran down the hallway, took the stairs 3 at a time, burst through that bedroom door so hard, Jane screamed and grabbed her chest. The twins spun around, and when they saw their father's face, tear-soaked, shaking, more undone than they'd ever seen him, Savannah threw her arms open wide and yelled one word. Daddy Marcus hit his knees right there on the floor, didn't care. Just went down. He pulled both of them into his arms and held on. Like a man who'd been let go of something he thought he'd lost forever. He couldn't talk. He could barely breathe. All he could do was lift one hand toward the ceiling and say through tears, "Thank you, God." Thank you. Jane stood in the corner with both hands over her mouth, trying real hard not to fall apart herself. And that morning, the mansion that used to feel like a beautiful prison, cold, controlled, loveless, became something else entirely. It became a home. Sometimes God doesn't send a miracle wrapped in fire and thunder sometimes. He sends a regular woman with a small Bible and a song she just can't stop singing. Faith is quiet, love is patient, and healing. Healing shows up right on time. Not a minute late and not a minute early. Don't sleep on the ordinary people God places in your life. They just might be carrying the miracle you've been praying for. If this story hit different, share it. Someone out there needs to hear it today. And if you're new here, you already know what Lonja is about. Subscribe. We drop stories that stay with you.